Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings for Monday, February the 13th. We do have a big Monday slate, 11 games tonight, so this should be a fun one. I'm recording this video on Sunday night. Wanted to give you guys a first look at the slate. Just watched the Super Bowl. Super Bowl just wrapped up before I started recording this video. That was a really good game. I enjoyed that Super Bowl on Sunday night. Hate the way that it ended with the that call, that holding call being kind of the deciding point of the game, but it was still a great game. And I did want to give you guys an early look at this NBA slate for Monday. So before we go game by game and kind of talk through this slate, make sure you guys hit that like button down below. If you guys do enjoy these videos, these DFS videos, hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And if you guys are new to the channel, be sure to check out PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the sponsor of this video. You guys can sign up for PrizePicks. Use my promo code NOAH. You will get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. And I do want to give a shout out to PrizePicks because they're running a very cool promo for Monday. They're actually offering a $50 protected play. Normally we see PrizePicks do this for Flex Friday where they'll give out a $20 protected play. Basically, your first entry that you play is risk-free up to $20. So even if you lose, you get that $20 back in promo funds. Where they're doing that, but way better. They're offering a $50 protected play. So the first entry that you place today, assuming you haven't placed an entry like already, the first entry you place after 10:30 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday night, all the way until like close to midnight on Monday. The first entry you place between that time frame, that is risk free up to $50. So if you put $5 on it and you lose, you get that $5 back. You put $20 on it and you lose, you get that $20 back. If you put $50 on it and you lose, you get that $50 back. So pretty cool promo PrizePicks is running for Monday. If you guys had some winnings, you won from the Super Bowl, and you want to put them back into play, you can. But it's up to you. But definitely take advantage of this promo. If you guys are new to PrizePicks, if you've never signed up for PrizePicks before, you can sign up. Again, use that promo code NOAH. Not only will you get a deposit bonus when you sign up, but you'll also be able to take advantage of this risk-free $50 protected play that is going to be available on Monday. The first entry you place Monday will be risk-free. So get over to PrizePicks, guys. Use that code NOAH when you sign up. Get your first deposit matched up to $100. Take a look at some of the props they have for NBA on Monday. And as always, I will be sharing some plays I like for this NBA slate. I'll have a separate video that I'll post sometime, probably Monday, if not maybe Sunday night. After I make this video, I'll take a look at PrizePicks board, see if I find any props I like. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk through this big 11-game slate. Going to try and go quickly through this one. So first game of the night is Atlanta and Charlotte, and this should be a good one. Two teams that play relatively fast, two teams that don't play a ton of defense. I think this should be a pretty high-scoring game. We'll start off on the Charlotte side. So looking at the Hornets here, LaMelo Ball is a tournament option at $10,400. I don't have an issue paying up for it. I think this matchup against Atlanta is fine. LaMelo is one of these guys that can put up a huge game in any matchup just because of the ways that he can stuff the stat sheet. He offers triple-double upside. I'm fine paying up for LaMelo here. More of a GPP play, but I think he's definitely viable. Terry Rozier at his price tag, I don't love on an 11-game slate. PJ Washington been playing really well lately without Mason Plumlee, and I think now that Plumlee is no longer on the team, that's definitely going to be a boost for Washington moving forward. But I think at $6,100, he's priced correctly. Not a ton of interest in him. The one guy that really stands out from Charlotte, really two guys, Gordon Hayward, Mark Williams. I like both of them for value. So Gordon Hayward, we've seen him play big minutes lately. Got 36 minutes in their most recent game against Denver, played 35 against Washington, played 30 last game against Boston. Charlotte traded away Jalen McDaniels, who was kind of the direct backup of Gordon Hayward. He was the guy that would take minutes away from Hayward. Now that they don't have Jalen McDaniels, I think we're going to see Gordon Hayward play a lot. As long as he stays healthy and as long as it's not a blowout or anything, he's going to play 30-plus minutes on a nightly basis. He's only $4,900. We'll have to wait and see what kind of value opens up as the day goes on, but I definitely think Gordon Hayward is in play for value. And Mark Williams is still way too cheap on DraftKings. He's going to start now with Mason Plumlee no longer on the team. Williams, last game, did get into some foul trouble going up against Jokic, but the game before that against Boston, he played 31 minutes, was really productive. He's been a point-per-minute player this season. He's going to play probably 30 minutes if the game's competitive and he's not in foul trouble. 4K, way too cheap. Love Mark Williams for value once again. He's definitely my favorite play on Charlotte overall, but that'll probably do it for this Hornets team. Nothing else I'm really looking to here. So talking about the Atlanta side now, you got Trae Young coming in at $9,700. I think it's a pretty good matchup for Trae here against Charlotte. I think it's Charlotte team, again, they play fast. They don't play a ton of defense. I think Trae is priced about right for the spot, but I think he is viable. I think DeJounte Murray, at his price tag, I'm not as interested in. Clint Capella, I like a ton in this spot. Made him the thumbnail for today. I think it's a really, really good matchup for Clint Capella. We've seen centers do really well against Charlotte this season. I think, whether it's, when they had Mason Plumlee, they were a really good matchup. Now they have Mark Williams. I still think it's going to be a pretty good matchup for centers. And, Capella's been playing pretty good minutes lately, been getting about 30 minutes a night. His price tag at $5,900 is definitely low for a spot like this where he can easily get you a double-double, can block some shots as well. I know Charlotte this season, I'm pretty sure they're giving up the most blocks per game to center. So this feels like one of those spots where we could see a big double-double, 3, 4, 5 blocks for Capella. I think at $5,900 he offers a ton of upside at this price tag. Really like Capella today. For sure my favorite play on Atlanta. I think both centers in this game look great, Capella and Mark Williams. And then the rest of Atlanta, so Saddiq Bey, I believe, will be available for this game. We'll have to wait and see. That I'm pretty sure that trade that went down, it did get accepted. So I think Bey might be available for Atlanta. Don't really think he's going to have a ton of fantasy value, but he might take away from guys like Bogdan and Hunter when he is available to play. John Collins listed as questionable, so this will be something to monitor. If Collins does not play, we might see more minutes for Bey if he's able to play, more minutes for Hunter, Bogdan. Maybe Jalen Johnson starts for in place of John Collins. Jalen Johnson, if he were to start, could be someone worth considering for value. He's only 3,100. He's not he's a decent per minute producer. Obviously got a good matchup. So yeah, you could definitely go there if you wanted to. But that's pretty much it for that game. Let's move on to the next one: San Antonio and Cleveland. So Cleveland, really good spot here for them. Tough game to really want to go super heavy on, just because I think this is a spot where San Antonio could get blown out. But, San Antonio's been a great matchup because they play fast. They don't play a ton of defense. Feels likely that somebody from Cleveland does well here. Garland, Mitchell, Mobley, Allen, I think they're all playable options. Between the four, my favorite would probably be Donovan Mitchell if I could get up to him. But I don't consider anyone on Cleveland a priority play. But I definitely think if you're playing a lot of lineups, if you're playing a lot of tournament lineups, mixing in these guys into your tournament player pool makes plenty of sense. Now, for me, as someone that just plays one lineup, am I going to play anyone from Cleveland in my one lineup? Don't know yet. Haven't built my lineup, obviously, but I think Mitchell's fine. I think Garland's fine. Mobley in play. Allen in play. The matchup's really good. Again, somebody from Cleveland probably does well today. Now, on the other side from San Antonio, I don't love a ton from San Antonio here. Keldon Johnson, I believe, is probable, so he's expected to play. He's going to have a really big role without Trey Jones, without Devin Vassell. The offense is going to run through Keldon Johnson, but the matchup's not the best. Again, there is some blowout risk in this game. I think Keldon is fine, but he's not someone that I'm really trying to build around. Jeremy Sohan's probable as well. He should be back for this game. I think he's an okay option. He only played 21 minutes in his first game back from injury, which is a little bit concerning. But again, with no Jakob Poeltl anymore, got traded away. No Trey Jones right now. No Devin Vassell still. No Josh Richardson either. This team's kind of shorthanded, and you're going to see a lot of Keldon Johnson, a lot of Jeremy Sohan. I think Sohan at 5,100 is definitely playable. Malachi Branham is going to have a big role rest of season, going to play pretty good minutes. I think he's still a playable value at 4,800, but I think his upside is not as high, now that Sohan and Keldon are back. The guy that really looks good for value, though, is Zach Collins. Now, this matchup against Cleveland is not great, but Zach Collins is a really good per-minute producer. The last two games he's played 35 and 23 minutes. Don't know yet, or I can't remember last game if he lost some minutes because of blowout, but I think most nights we're going to get 25 to 30 minutes from Zach Collins, and for 4,500, he's still too cheap here, even in kind of a tough matchup. I still think Zach Collins is a pretty good value. So I did want to mention him. He's probably my favorite play on San Antonio overall. But if you want to go to Keldon or Sohan, I don't mind them either. But I really like Collins the most from San Antonio. But let's move on to the next game, Utah and Indiana. So for Indiana today, big news to monitor here. I believe both Tyrese Halliburton and Miles Turner are listed as questionable for this game. So this is going to be something to keep an eye on. Obviously, that it was going to change the slate a ton if both those guys are out. If they both play, then I don't see too much I really like on Indiana. I think the matchup for Halliburton is pretty solid. Utah's been a pretty good matchup for point guards. Utah's kind of playing fast this season. I think they should continue to play fast now that Mike Conley is gone and they have Clarkson and Sexton who can really push the pace. Halliburton at 9,200, I think it's a fine play. Not a priority, but if you want to go there in tournaments, I think it's okay. Pretty good matchup for Miles Turner. We've seen Utah give up big games to centers all season. Turner's price tag's come down a little bit, 7,300. If this game's competitive and if he's not in foul trouble, we know that Miles Turner's going to get pretty big minutes. So don't mind him at 7,300. But those are really the only two guys I'm considering on Indiana today, unless they get ruled out. Now, if Halliburton gets ruled out, TJ McConnell's going to be a great value play. Andrew Nembhard would be a really good value play. McConnell, 5K. Nembhard, 3,700. Both those guys would look really, really good. if Halliburton got ruled out, Buddy Hield would also get a little bit of a boost, although it's 6,700. I wouldn't be super interested in Buddy Hield. And then if Miles Turner got ruled out, we'd have to wait and see who starts at center. Whoever starts at center for Turner, if he were to sit, whether it be like Isaiah Jackson or maybe Jalen Smith, Daniel Tice, whoever were to start would be a really good value. So that's going to be something to monitor. There definitely could be value worth targeting from Indiana if those guys are out. Luckily, 7 o'clock game, so we'll have this news before lock. And then on the other side with Utah, Lauri Markkanen's in a pretty good spot here, but I think at 9,100 on an 11-game slate, not super interested in Markkanen today at his price tag. Clarkson, Kessler, they're playable, but neither one stand out. I think it's a pretty good matchup for Kessler. We've seen Indiana get killed on the glass. They've been giving up a lot of big games to center, so I don't mind Kessler here at 5,600. I think he's playable, but the guy that I really like from Utah, is Colin Sexton. We've seen Colin Sexton start the last 2 games, and he's going to continue to start with Mike Conley no longer on the team. Now that Mike Conley got traded away, Sexton's going to be their starting point guard moving forward, assuming they don't play Russell Westbrook. It looks like Russell Westbrook's going to get balled out and going to wind up playing somewhere else, I assume. So I think at 5,200, Sexton looks like a pretty good value here. I do have a lot of interest in him. And then THT is like a cheap option off the bench. I don't mind. He's played pretty good minutes the last 2 games. He's kind of been like their 6th man lately, and we know THT can produce when he gets minutes. So I definitely like THT for value as well. Him and Sexton both look pretty good as value plays. But that'll do it for that game. Let's move on to the next one, Houston and Philly. So for Philly today, pretty good matchup here against the Rockets. Kind of similar scenario as like Cleveland, with Cleveland facing San Antonio. It feels pretty likely somebody from Cleveland does well. Feel like the same way here with Philadelphia. Embiid, Harden, I think are both in really good spots, and I wouldn't be surprised if one of them has a good game here. But given the price tags, 11.4 for Embiid, 9,800 for Harden, neither one stand out as priority options for me. Embiid's been playing massive minutes lately, always offers a massive ceiling. He's probably my favorite play from Philly if I had to play anyone. Harden, revenge game, fine option as well, but I think I'd rather get up to Embiid if I could. The rest of the Sixers, Harris, Maxey, none of these guys really stand out. Obviously, Embiid's questionable, so keep an eye on that. If he gets ruled out, that would definitely change my thoughts on Philly. Harden, Maxey, Harris would all be great plays if Embiid got ruled out, but we just kind of have to assume that Embiid's going to play since he's played like the last 9 or 10 games. Now, on the other side with Houston, don't like a ton from Houston here. Not a great matchup, pace down spot, and there's some blowout risk too, so I don't see myself rostering a ton of Rockets on this slate. Tough spot for Şengün going up against Embiid, and there's obviously foul trouble risk here as well, so not super interested in Şengün. Kevin Porter Jr., we don't really have an update on him. If he returns for this game, that pretty much just makes everyone look less appealing. If he remains out, then sure, you could go to like Jalen Green, but I don't love the spot for Jalen Green either, and I think he feels priced correctly at 6,900. So yeah, not too much on Houston I want to target today. Most of my interest in this game is on the Philly side, and specifically Joel Embiid. I think he's probably my favorite play in this game if I had to play anyone. Next one, though, Denver and Miami. So on the Miami side, I think all these guys that are listed as questionable, I think they're all probable for today. Bam is listed as probable. Tyler Hero is listed as questionable. So Hero is questionable. And then I think that's it. Still no Oladipo, still no Lowry, and I think Gabe Vincent's probable. So really the only news to keep an eye on from Miami is Hero, who is questionable. And obviously that does matter a good amount because without Kyle Lowry, without Oladipo, we're seeing Miami run a really tight rotation. They're pretty much playing an 8-man rotation every night. They would run a tight rotation here. Once again, we could expect an even bigger role for Jimmy Butler, for Bam Adebayo, and I think Gabe Vincent would get a pretty big boost as well if Tyler Hero got ruled out. Also, Max Strus, Caleb Martin, those guys would look pretty appealing. So if Hero doesn't play, those are the guys we can really consider for value. And then Bam and Butler would both look more appealing. Now, where they're priced at, I'm probably only considering Bam and Butler if Hero is out. If Hero plays, then I really don't like much from Miami. There's not really too much that stands out here given the pricing. Now on the Denver side, looking at the Nuggets here, a lot of question marks here too, but I think a lot of these guys are probable. Jamal Murray's questionable. I think Aaron Gordon's questionable too. So Aaron Gordon's questionable too, and I think that's it. So we'll need to monitor the status of Murray and Gordon. If Murray sits, biggest beneficiary is going to be Bruce Brown, and Bruce Brown is still fairly cheap, 5,300. He'd be a pretty good value play if Jamal Murray got ruled out. If Aaron Gordon got ruled out, I think last game they started Vlatko Cancar in place of Gordon. Don't know if I'd really want to go to Cancar, but I think Michael Porter Jr. would get a little bit of a boost. I think obviously Jokic would get a little bit of a boost as well if Gordon got ruled out. Not the best matchup here against Miami, so this is not a spot I really want to be super invested in, but definitely Bruce Brown, MPJ, those guys would become playable if Murray and Gordon are out. If Murray and Gordon play, Don't see much here from Denver. Jokic, you can always play. Don't love the spot, though, against a really good Heat team, really good Heat defense. These teams have already played once this season. Jokic did put up 60 Draftkings points, but, at 12K, you kind of want like 70 from Jokic when you're paying this much for him. So I'm not really considering Jokic a priority today just because I don't love the spot, and I think there's other guys I'd rather pay up for. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game, Brooklyn and New York. Starting off on the Knicks side, not a ton stands out on the Knicks today. Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett, you can always look to those guys because they're going to play big minutes if the game's competitive. But given where they're priced at, none of them look like great options to me. They're just kind of like GPP plays. On the Brooklyn side, Spencer Dinwiddie's going to have a pretty big role, but I think at 8K, he feels priced about right. He's been pretty good with the Nets so far. Like, he put up 48 DK points against Chicago. Last game kind of came back down to earth against Philly. Also worth noting that Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson played last game. I think they played the game against Chicago too, or maybe they didn't. Last game though, they did play. I know Mikal Bridges was really good in his debut with the Nets. He played 34 minutes, had 23 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 37 DK points. I expect Mikal Bridges to be pretty productive with this Nets team. I think his usage is going to be decent. So maybe you could go to Mikal Bridges at 6,600. But like Cam Thomas came off the bench last game and didn't play a ton. Seems like his role's kind of diminished now that Johnson and Bridges are playing. Claxton at 7,200 is still fine. His role, I don't think, really changes too much. We know the minutes are going to be there as long as the game is competitive. With this price tag coming down a little bit, I think Claxton's okay if you want to go there. Don't think I'm considering anyone else on Brooklyn, though. Ben Simmons, Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson. None of these guys look that great. I know Cam Johnson did start in his debut with the Nets. He did play 28 minutes. At 4,900, he's an okay value, but I feel like we've talked about already a lot of cheap options that look good. So Cam Johnson would definitely be towards the bottom of my list in terms of like value plays for today. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game. Not too much to really like in that one. So next game, Orlando and Chicago. Don't really see a ton that I'm loving in this one either. On the Chicago side, you know who's worth rostering here. Vooch, Levine, DeRozan. Those are going to be the 3 guys you really consider. I would say Vooch is probably my favorite at 9K, but I don't really like a ton of these Chicago guys, and when they're all healthy, it's just a tough team to really gauge, especially on an 11-game slate when there's just kind of other teams worth targeting. But Vooch, I know, has had success against Orlando. He's averaged 54 DK points through 2 games against them. It is a revenge game for what it's worth. We've seen a big ceiling from Vooch lately. Did have that 66-point game against Memphis. I think that game was without DeMar DeRozan, but I'm fine with Vooch at 9K. Levine's okay. DeRozan's okay. I know DeRozan's been pretty bad lately. Don't know what's going on with him. Still been playing good minutes. Has just not been taking a ton of shots, not been as productive on a per-minute basis. His price tag has come down a little bit because of that. So if you want to go to DeRozan today, just because the price tag has come down, and we know that DeRozan can put up a big game any night, I'm fine playing DeRozan here. Probably would rank the Bulls guys Vooch first, then DeRozan, then Levine, and really not considering anyone else. On the Orlando side, probably just going to pass on Orlando today. I mean, they're pretty much fully healthy. They have like a ton of available players. I know like last game they started Jalen Suggs, or maybe that was 2 games ago they started Jalen Suggs. I think the last 2 games he has started. So this will be something to keep an eye on. It looks like he started last game, and I think he started the game against Denver, and I think he started last game too against Miami. So if Jalen Suggs continues to start, he's only 3,600. Like he could definitely be someone we consider for value today. Suggs is a pretty decent per-minute producer, and he is really cheap. So he's probably my favorite play on Orlando if I had to play anyone on this Magic team. But that'll do it for the Magic. I really don't really see myself rostering Ben Caro or Franz Wagner or Markelle Fultz. None of these guys look that great on a 11-game slate. So next game, the Pelicans and the Thunder. On the Thunder side today, SGA at 10.7 I think is an okay pay-up option, but there's other guys I'd rather pay up for today. Giddey at 7,900, I don't have a ton of interest in. The rest of the Thunder, I'm just going to pass on these guys. I just haven't really been playing many OKC guys this season besides Giddey and SGA. So I don't really see myself going to anyone else besides those 2. On the Pelican side, it's a pretty good spot here against OKC. I think Brandon Ingram at 7,800 looks pretty solid today. He's been playing big minutes lately, seems to be back to full strength. He's had over 42 DK points now in 4 straight games. Without Zion, his usage, the role should continue to be really strong. So Ingram's probably my favorite play on the Pelicans. CJ McCollum did sit last game and is questionable once again. I think he sat last game. Maybe he didn't. Maybe I'm missing something, but McCollum is questionable for this game, so keep an eye on this. If McCollum does sit, Obviously, that's an even bigger boost for Brandon Ingram. And then a guy that would really benefit would be Jose Alvarado, who is really cheap. Where's Alvarado at? He's only he's only 3,200. If CJ McCollum winds up sitting, I assume Alvarado would start at point guard. He would be another really good value play on the slate. And obviously, a guy like Jonas Valanciunas, I think, would benefit as well. Do want to mention this matchup against OKC is really good. OKC has given up a lot of big games to centers this season. I know Valanciunas lately has been like a headache to roster. You can just look at his game log. So 20, 36, 44, 38, and then 17. Like he's been a typical boom bust player this season. This feels like a spot where you would definitely get a big game from J-Val, especially if there's no McCollum. He could just pick up more usage. The offense could run more through J-Val. Matchup's really good. OKC struggles to rebound too, so this is a spot where I think J-Val could really do well on the glass. So as a tournament option, I definitely have interest in J-Val here, but I would still say that my favorite play on the Pelicans is Brandon Ingram. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game. Still got 3 more to go over. Minnesota and Dallas. On the Dallas side, I'm pretty much going to pass on everyone here. Luka is 12-1, which I think is probably too expensive now that he's playing with Kyrie. We saw him play with Kyrie last game. Played 41 minutes. The game went to overtime, and he still only had 43 DK points. I think his usage, his overall point per minute production is going to take enough of a hit to where he's really not going to be worth the 12K salary. I think once his price tag comes down a little bit, then I'll be interested in Luka. And then Kyrie, when he's playing with Luka, I don't have a ton of interest in when he's over 10K. So both of these, Dallas guys feel a little bit overpriced right now. The rest of Dallas, I'm not interested in really anyone here. Wood, Tim Hardaway Jr. I know Josh Green's been playing well lately, but at 4,900 on a 11-game slate with a lot of other value, I think I'll pass on Josh Green with so many other cheap options standing out. But he's probably my favorite play on Dallas if I had to play anyone here. And then on the Minnesota side, so going to need to monitor the status of Rudy Gobert. This is a big injury to watch. Obviously, if Gobert plays, he's a playable option at 6,500. If he's out, we could look to Naz Reid, who's going to be a really good value. Naz Reid, we know, can produce when he gets minutes. He's only 4,400. He would be one of the best value plays on the slate if Gobert did wind up sitting. And then the rest of Minnesota, Anthony Edwards, 9,600. Probably going to pass on here. I think the matchup against Dallas is pretty solid. Dallas's defense, I think, since they traded away some of their better defenders, this is probably going to be a good spot for Edwards. But the price tag on an 11-game slate doesn't make him look that great. And the rest of these Minnesota guys like Mike Conley, Kyle Anderson, I'm not really considering anyone else here. Mike Conley, I think it is Timberwolves' debut. Yeah, he didn't really do much. He only played 26 minutes, had just 17 DK points. I don't think he's going to have a ton of fantasy value with the Timberwolves. So I don't really see myself going there. So, yeah, that'll do it for that game. Let's move on to the next game, Washington and Golden State. So for Golden State today, obviously still no Steph Curry, so Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins are going to be kind of the biggest beneficiaries there. Wiggins is questionable for this game, so keep an eye on this. Obviously, if Wiggins sits, that's even better for Poole and Klay, and that would probably give a boost to a guy like Dante DiVincenzo, who I would like for value. But definitely think Klay and Poole both look solid once again. I mean, without Steph, the offense is going to run through these two guys. We've seen Klay be pretty good in the games without Steph this season. Wasn't great against the Lakers, but did have 49 DK points against Portland, 51 against OKC. We know the upside is there when Klay is hitting his shots. And then Jordan Poole, he's been great the last few games without Steph. 46, 52, and 50 DraftKings points. Continues to play big minutes. Price tag is 7,800. Does still feel a little bit too cheap. I think Poole is probably my favorite play on Golden State if I had to play anyone here. And then Draymond at 6,600. Not super interested in. And then obviously, guys like Dante DiVincenzo would become more appealing if someone like Wiggins got ruled out. But for now, my favorite play on Golden State is definitely Poole. And then on the other side with the Wizards, going to have to monitor the status of Kyle Kuzma, who's listed as questionable for this game. If Kuzma plays, not a ton of interest in him, not a ton of interest in really anyone on Washington. But if Kuzma does get ruled out, that is a boost for both Porzingis and Bradley Beal. Porzingis is 9,900 and Beal 7,600. So these guys are not super cheap by any means, but they would be playable options if Kuzma did wind up sitting. Denny Avdia, I think, would be a playable option, but at 6K, not a guy I'm really running to roster. Not too much stands out on Washington here. Even if Kuzma sits, I don't really see myself forcing in anyone on the Wizards, I don't think. So let's move on to the last game of the night, the Lakers and the Blazers. So for the Blazers today, Jeremy Grant questionable for this game. Going to need to monitor his status, and then Yusuf Nurkic obviously is still out. So if Grant winds up playing, it's 7K, probably going to pass on him. His per minute production lately has been really down. I don't know what's going on with him. He's been playing massive minutes, just really hasn't been producing much. He's going to have a good game at some point, but at 7K, I'll probably pass on Grant here. If Grant doesn't play, we could maybe get some value from Portland with a guy like Nasir Little. He's really cheap, 3,300. He'd be a playable value if Grant wound up sitting. But really, the guy that stands out most from Portland has to be Damian Lillard. I mean, Damian Lillard just been on a tear lately, been playing huge minutes, been just kind of carrying the offense, and in a good matchup against the Lakers in what should be a fast-paced, high-scoring game, I think Dame offers a lot of upside here. Now, I wish he was a little bit cheaper. 11-1 is a lot to pay for Dame, but he's been showing the upside to pay off this, has shown the upside that he can pay off this price tag. So I still think Dame looks pretty solid. He's probably my favorite play on Portland. Grant and Simons and the rest of these Portland guys don't look super appealing. Obviously, if Grant sits, we can maybe go to Little for value, but have a feeling there will be better value available today. Now, on the other side with the Lakers, LeBron is questionable for this game. Going to need to monitor his status. Hasn't played, I think, the last 2 or 3 games. Since he's broken the record, he hasn't played. I think it's been like 2 games now. We'll see if he returns here. Obviously, if he returns, you can maybe go to LeBron, but I think he's priced correctly now that he's playing with Anthony Davis. Now the Lakers have all these other guys as well, D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt. These guys might cut into LeBron's role enough to where I don't know if I really want to pay 10-8 for him. And then Anthony Davis at 10-6. I think it's a pretty good spot for him going up against a Portland team without Yusuf Nurkic. Going to be matched up against Drew Eubanks. So this feels like a really good spot for Anthony Davis. He's not been great lately the last few games without LeBron, but if LeBron does remain out, I have a lot of interest in AD. Even if LeBron plays, I could still see going to AD, but AD would definitely look a lot better if LeBron did wind up sitting again. D'Angelo Russell in his Lakers debut wasn't great, played 35 minutes, only had 29 DK points. If LeBron returns, I'll probably pass on Russell here. If LeBron remains out, you can maybe go to Russell. He would be fine, but not a priority play. Schroeder at 5,500, only really considering him if LeBron's out. If LeBron plays, I'll pass on Schroeder. And then the rest of the Lakers, Rui, Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt. Don't know if I'm really going to go to these guys. Beasley and Vanderbilt both came off the bench last game. Beasley was not great, played only 16 minutes, shot 2 for 9. He's a really good three-point shooter. I think when he plays with LeBron, that's probably going to be good for him because LeBron's so good at finding the open man. Beasley can get hot from 3 and put up a big game any night. He's kind of like a GPP dart throw, I think. And then Jared Vanderbilt was really productive in the minutes he got. He didn't play a ton. He only played 17 minutes in his Lakers debut, but he did put up 30 Draftkings points in just 17 minutes. And we've seen Jared Vanderbilt be able to produce on a per-minute basis when he gets minutes. Now, how many minutes is he going to play on a nightly basis with the Lakers? We don't really know. Only played 17 last game. But if he can get like 24, 25 minutes, he can easily pay off 4,200 in 24, 25 minutes. It's just a matter of, will the Lakers give him that many minutes? So I don't mind Vanderbilt as a dart throw either. I think him and Beasley are both worth sprinkling in. Those are guys I could definitely see playing on the night slate. For the full 11-game main slate, don't know if they would crack my lineup, but I definitely think for the night slate, they're pretty good options. But yeah, that'll do it for that game. I think that does it for this 11-game Monday slate. Big one. This should be a lot of fun, though. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, make sure you hit that like button if you enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And go check out PrizePicks, sponsor of the video. Sign up for PrizePicks. Use my promo code NOAH. You will get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. And definitely take advantage of this $50 protected play that PrizePicks is giving us for Monday. The first entry you place will be risk-free up to $50. So if you play $20 and you lose, you get that $20 back in promo funds. If you play $30 and you lose, you get that $30 back in promo funds. If you play $50 and you lose, you get that $50 back in promo funds. So pretty cool promo PrizePicks is running. Again, if you're not on there, if you're not playing on PrizePicks yet, use that code NOAH when you sign up, get your deposit match, and take advantage of that risk-free promo as well that will be available all the way up until midnight on Monday. So that's it for this video, guys. I think I covered everything. Big 11-game slate. Again, this one should be a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys watching the video as always. Hopefully, we can all make some money tonight, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.